Today we're working on lesson 6.3, standard form. We did learn about standard form a few weeks ago in module 5, I think. The only vocab there's been has been the formulas or the equations. So when we take the module 6 test, it'll be next week, we are not going to have a vocab test for module 6 because there's only been 3 vocabulary words and it's the 3 formulas, the ones I have up on the board over here: point slope, slope intercept, and standard form. So I'm not going to make a vocabulary test for that. That's just the formulas, and obviously you have to know them for the test. So the vocab is just what is standard form. So it's AX plus BY equals C. So you just need the X and Y to be on the same side. The X and Y are on the same side. When you're plugging it into HMH does not want fractions or decimals. So go ahead and add no decimals and no fractions. That's just to get you into the habit for when you have to enter it into HMH. Okay, example 1 is going to say write in standard form. One A is for a line that has a slope is 2 and negative 2 comma 2 is on the line. The slope is 2 and then the point negative 2 is on the line. We have to write the equation in standard form for that line. So I know the slope, so go ahead and label that with an M because M stands for slope. 2 is M. I also know a point, so label this as X and Y, because every time we have a point, it's always X comma Y. Label them with sub ones, little ones. So I know the slope and I know a point. So what we're going to use is point slope form first. Take good notes. In class today, you're going to be like, yeah, I get this, I understand, and then you go home and you forget everything. Okay, point slope, as a reminder, is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Okay, go ahead and substitute in your m, your x1, and your y1 into point slope. You guys know how to do that from last week. Bless you. So you should have y minus 2 equals 2 times x plus 2, because this back end should say x minus negative 2, right? X minus negative 2 is really x plus 2. So look at your back end part, that parentheses, it should say x plus 2. Please don't write x minus negative 2. That's not simplified all the way. It just looks weird. Okay, from here, now we're going to put it into slope-intercept form. So the first thing you're going to do is distributive property. So the 2 is touching the parentheses, so that means multiply. So distribute. Go ahead and do 2 times x, and then 2 times 2. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, I'm going to bring down y minus 2 and the equal sign. Next thing we're going to do is get rid of the constant that's with the y, because we're trying to get y by itself. So y minus 2, instead I'm going to add 2. If I add 2 to one side of the equation, the addition property of equality says I got to do it to the other side. I'm going to put it underneath the like term. So I'm going to put it underneath the 4. I'm not going to put it under 2x because you're not going to combine x's with something with no x's. So I'm left with y equals 2x plus 6. And you'll notice this is slope-intercept. So slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. Finally, we need to get it in standard form. Standard form is when the x and the y are on the same side. So you just need to now, the easiest way to do it is to bring these x's over to the left-hand side. To get things to move over the equal sign, we add or subtract them. So if I'm getting rid of positive 2x's, I have to subtract 2x's. If I do that to one side of the equal sign, I have to do it to the other. That's the subtraction property of equality. Okay, I want it to look like it's in standard form, so I want to put the x's first. There were no x's. I subtracted 2x's, so I have negative 2x. I have a positive y, because those are not like terms. They don't go together. One has a y and one has an x. You can't put together different letters. Bring down your equal sign. 2x's take away 2x's means there's no more x's. There's just a positive 6. And here we have, this is standard form. Okay, we're going to try another one like that. The slope is 5, and negative 2 comma 4 is on the line. I have a line that goes through negative 2, 4, and it has a slope of 5. I need to put it into standard form. So first, if it helps you, label everything. Slope is really the letter M. This will be X, this will be Y. We'll put little sub 1s on it. Okay, first, go ahead and put that into point slope form. Point slope form. Y minus Y sub 1 equals M times X minus X sub 1. So you should have Y minus Y sub 1 equals M times X. X minus negative 2 is really X plus 2. So look at your paper, make sure it says X plus 2. X minus negative 2 is really X plus 2. Okay, next we do distributive property. Everybody should be doing this. 5 times X, and then don't forget to do 5 times 2. I have a lot of people that seem to do it for the first term and then they forget to do the second term. So 5 times X is 5X. 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, next we need to get rid of this minus 4 because we want y to be by itself. So go ahead and get rid of minus 4. Eric, are you writing stuff down? Okay, now it's in slope-intercept form. And then finally, I need to put it into standard form. That's when the x and the y are on the same side. So move the 5x over to the left-hand side so it's with the y. And I end up with negative 5x plus y equals 14. Okay, now you're going to work on some with your group. So if somebody near you is stuck, please help them out. Okay, the slope is negative 2. And negative 7, negative 10 is on the line. Go ahead and do that one, and then there'll be a second one up here for you when you're done. Okay, put those into standard form. It's frozen. Okay, go ahead and check your answers. For number 1, you should end up with 2x plus y equals negative 24. And number 2, negative 4x plus y equals 12. Questions on either of those two? Okay. Okay, we have one more example then, and then we'll be done with this. Example 2 is also right in standard form. (2a). I have a line that goes through -2, -1, and 0, 4. I have to write the equation for this line in standard form. Right now I know 2 of the points. I don't know the slope, but I do know I can calculate slope. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out what the slope is. Reminder, slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So take those 2 points and label them. X, y, x, y. Put sub 1s on the first point, sub 2s on the second point. Okay, go ahead and calculate. Do y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. (4 minus -1). We know subtracting is the same as adding the opposite. So 4 minus -1, that's really 4 plus 1. X sub 2 minus x sub 1. So that's really 0 plus 2. 4 plus 1 is 5. 0 plus 2 is 2. 5 over 2 cannot reduce anymore. Just leave it as a fraction. You don't need to make it a decimal. Leave it as a fraction. Label that. That's our m. That's our slope. From here, I could do point slope. I know the slope, and I know 2 different points. I could just pick one of them. However, if you look at this point right here, 0, 4, that is your y-intercept. Remember, your y-intercept is always 0, something. So that's right here. So we already know the y-intercept is 4. So if I know the y-intercept and I know the slope, I can go directly into slope-intercept form. I don't have to bother with point slope. So you could, if you didn't notice that that's the y-intercept, a lot of times that happens. You might not even notice. You would have just picked the slope and picked one of the points and done point slope and then converted it into slope-intercept. So slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b, right? So to write our equation, ours is y equals, we know the m value, the slope. We figured that out at the beginning. The slope is 5 over 2. We always put the x next. And then we ended up with the y-intercept. That's your b value. The b value is 4. It's a positive 4, so I have to put a plus sign. If it was a minus, then it'd be the subtraction. So now it's in slope-intercept form. From here, I have to put it into standard form. So that's where I get the x and the y on the same side. So we just need to move this over here. So to get it to move, I'm going to subtract 5 over 2x, subtract 5 over 2x. So now I'm left with negative 5 over 2x plus y equals 4. Right now this is not finished though. HMH wants no fractions. So if you gave me this as an answer like on a test, I'd give you partial credit. It just hasn't been finished though. Here's how you get rid of a fraction. As long as there's just one fraction on it, that's super easy. To get rid of a fraction, get rid of it, you're going to multiply every term, needs to be everything, by the denominator. So the denominator, that's the bottom number. If we multiply everything by the denominator, we'll get rid of the fraction completely. So the denominator is 2. So I'm gonna write the problem again. So it's negative 5 over 2 x plus y equals 4. I'm gonna multiply everything by 2. So that denominator is a 2, the number on the bottom is a 2, so I'm going to multiply each term. So there's 3 terms, right? We can see each one. Here's a term, here's a term, here's a term. We're going to multiply everything by 2. Okay, multiplying the denominator by the numerator being the same number is going to cancel it out, but let me show you why it can't. So it's going to end up as, if I multiply this by 2, it just gets rid of the denominator, so I'm going to end up with negative 5x. Okay, let me show you why. Most of you, once you see it, you're like, oh yeah. So if I have negative 5 over 2, and I'm about to multiply that by 2, right? We're multiplying by 2. So 2 is really 2 over 1. You guys remember how to multiply fractions, right? You just go right across, or you can cross reduce. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. 2 times 1 is 2. I end up with negative 5. So, or you can cross reduce and I'm left with negative 5 over 1. So I just end up with whatever the numerator is. Okay, you have to remember though that you have to multiply everything by 2. Y times 2 is just 2y. And then 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, we'll do one more kind of like that. Okay, I'm going to have a line. It's going to go through 5, 2, and 3, negative 6. First, I want to find the slope. So label x, y, x, y. Sub 1s and sub 2s. Okay, we're going to calculate the slope. Go ahead and do y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Everybody should be doing this. Use your calculator if you're not sure. I'd rather you use your calculator and not make silly mistakes. So y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. A negative over a negative is really positive slope. 8 over 2 is really 4. So there's our slope. That's m. They did not give us the y-intercept. So now we're going to do point slope form. I know the slope, and then I need to pick one of these points. I'm just going to use 5, 2. So I'm going to use a point, and I know the slope is 4. So this is my x sub 1, y sub 1. So now I'm going to put this into point slope. So y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Okay, plug in your x1, y1, and your m. So put it into point slope form first. So you should have y minus 2 equals 4 times x minus 5. Okay, next do distributive property. 4 times x, and then 4 times negative 5. Four times x is 4x. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And then finally, get rid of your minus 2. So to get rid of it, we add 2. So in slope-intercept, it's y equals 4x minus 18. So just so you know, because you're going to need this for today, this is your slope-intercept right now. From here, now put it into standard form. So get the x on the same side as the y. So move your x over. So to get rid of 4x's, we're going to subtract 4x's from the other side, and I end up with negative 4x plus y equals negative 18. And now it's in, this is standard form. We use standard form a lot if we're trying to find intercepts. It's super easy to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, because remember, for finding the intercepts, we just plug in 0. So standard form is used when you're trying to find the intercepts. That's the easiest way to find intercepts. Slope-intercept is used a lot to graph. That's the easiest one for graphing. Point slope is just easy once they give you the slope of the point. Okay, now you're ready to do some on your own or with your groups. Okay, for number 3, you're going to have a line. It goes through 4, negative 7, and 2, negative 3. 4, negative 7, and 2, negative 3. When you're done with that, I'll have another one up here for you to do. Okay, you can work on these by yourself or with the people around you. Let's check our answers. For number 3, first you should have calculated the slope, gotten negative 2 as the slope, and then picked one of the points. I picked the first point and did point slope, and then ended up with 2x plus y equals 1. Questions on number 3? Good on 3? Okay, for number 4, when you calculated slope, you should have had positive 1, because a negative over a negative is positive. Then I used the first point and the slope, did point slope, and then finished it as negative x plus y equals 4. Questions? Everybody's good there? Okay, that's it for standard form. Standard form's not too bad. We're going to be doing an activity, a worksheet today. The worksheet needs to be done by Wednesday. So we'll have a little bit of time today. We don't have a ton of time. Tomorrow, I don't know if we'll have time for it or not, so that's why I'm going to say have it done by Wednesday for sure.